Hello, people. Today I have with us from the Kyokai Senki or Warrior at the Border, the Brady Hound. This is a 1/72 scale plastic model kit in high grade series from Bandai. There is a little write up about it, so I'll go ahead and read that. Brady Hounds are the main MIMs, the Automobile Artificial Intelligence Mounts of the North American Confederation or NAC forces. They are equipped with high-powered hover units on their shoulders, back, and hips to obtain both offensive and defensive power and mobility. They excel in maneuver warfare by utilizing their overwhelming maneuverability and are all-rounded machines that can handle both melee and firefights. They can be towed by attaching the connectors on the top of their shoulders to the towing arms on stork carriers. The MIM transport high-speed jet helicopters, allowing for quick deployment and operations all over the battlefield. Units that can be piloted by commanders also exist, which allow for operations conducted by command vehicles positioned at the back end of the battlefield or by commander units, which are deployed alongside unmanned units. These machines allow NAC forces to respond quickly to different situations on the battlefield and to flexibly operate compared to squadrons entirely consisting of unmanned units. Its most iconic feature is its design that are based on operational concepts. These vastly differ from those seen on MIMs developed and owned by other global powers. There are other write-ups, including one about the NAC and some more about the features on these ones, like the hover units and things like that. But we can get to those maybe later. Knuckle mode, rifle, and the hover unit are here. So we're going to go ahead and look at those later. As far as what I see here, it is a very, very cool looking, very utilitarian walking tank style mecha. You see that it's got the big bulky hover units on it, the big wings, stabilizer wings here. Not sure how effective they would be in flight or anything like that, but it's a really cool concept anyway. Being that it is a fantasy type series, you know, of course, it doesn't have to be too realistic, but it is pretty cool either way. I happen to really like this one. I also have the Brady Hound, which is Brad's version. He is one of those commander units, like I mentioned in the write-up. So you can pair these guys with him to make a squad. There are more that come out later, including the Brady Fox. And there's one that came out prior to this one, which is the Joe Hound. This one, actually, I'll correct that. It didn't come out prior in terms of kits. It came out prior in terms of in-universe. The Joe Hound evolved to the Brady Hound, evolved into the Brady Fox, etc., etc. Either way, this one is my favorite of the different options. The Brady Fox is pretty cool, but the Brady Fox isn't as utilitarian looking. It's got some purple tones, some white. It doesn't look like it would be at home on the battlefield. There's a reason in universe for it, but we'll cover that when I get to that unit. This one, though, it is really cool, and I will go ahead and start covering the articulation right now. So first off, barring a head, which, you know, this one doesn't have a head, it does have this little faceplate. You can turn that on a ball joint, so you can move that around in a couple of different directions to aim those camera lenses, and you can twist it in any direction as well if you wanted to do so, but you know, that's something that you can do. Let's go ahead and get to the arm. So this whole setup here is on a really complex unit inside. So there is articulation inside the body here that you can move this in and out. So if you wanted to take that section off, which you can presumably, but you really shouldn't because it's holding most of this together. And then the arm, which plugs into that. So this is articulated here, and you can move that back and forth just a hair. Now, it does have a joint set inside here that you can tilt it and turn it, but because of how big this unit is, you can't really use it. So instead, we put the ball joint in, and that's all held together by that big thruster unit. Now, the shoulder itself is articulated on a very small peg, so you can lift it up and down like so. The further you have it from the hover unit, the more you can articulate it. The ball joint, of course, is articulated 360 degrees. And that shoulder also has some articulation inside, so you can move it up and down inside that shoulder. But the armor is really in the way. So if we were to take that off, like so, you can move it a bit more. Not much, but still, that's something. And that does just clip on with this rod here pretty firmly, so you aren't going to have to worry about losing that. In fact, you have to worry about this one a little bit more than the other. At this point, the shoulder does articulate with a revolution here. So rotate that on the peg. And then we also have a very simple elbow, which when I put it together, I actually thought it was double jointed because of the way it's set up, but it is just a single joint up here. And then these ones are all locked in place. Simple ball joint inside the wrist. And you have a locking mechanism for the knuckle. So this extends out for punching. Let's see if I can get it to do what it's supposed to do. So this is supposed to slide out here for punching to get that little bit of extra damage, like a little set of brass knuckles. Or slide it back to hold the weapon in place if it's holding one. And took both arms off. There's articulation on this sword. Both of the swords have that little swivel. It does come off pretty easily compared to the sword actually mounted to that. So when you pull it down, most of the time, the whole thing's going to get pulled out. That said, it's pretty nifty. The articulation inside the body here is pretty robust. You have a setup inside the ball, so you can move it backward and forward. And there is actually articulation to the left and right, so if you wanted to, you can do that as well. So it's on a rocker that actually is mounted inside that ball unit. And the ball also has a peg that goes downward, so you can rotate that on that axis as well. This one is articulated, but it shouldn't be. I think it's supposed to be just stuck here. Something about the way it's designed doesn't get it stuck there. These guys are also articulated, so you can flap them in and out. And the butt flap does have some articulation. You can pull it outward, push it back inward, but when you have it outward, you can actually lift it up and out. And I actually think that has to do with mounting it onto the helicopter. But we'll find out about that later. Fairly robust legs. You have two pieces put together here, just like a 30-minute missions kit. So you can move that one inward and outward, and of course rotate it on its peg. There is no drop down in this one. It's just a simple peg inside the body there. Rotation here at the top of the leg, and a pretty cool knee system. So let's actually get it on this side. It's easier to do it this way. So you can bend this one down and get that plate so that it can kneel on it. And then that one does articulate just a bit too. So it's a pretty cool setup there. Down here you have this that articulates this way. You can cover that joint or not. That joint is just a peg on a loop. And that peg goes down into here on a ball joint, so you can rotate this one as you'd like. With the different setup inside here, you can move those quite a lot too. It's a lot of fun. And then last but not least, you have the claws on the feet. So each of those articulates. This one articulates at one point, and at this one there are two joints, so you can move it outward and then back in. Or up and out. Pretty cool. So now I'll go ahead and get the other kits that I normally use for size comparison. This one is a rather popcornish type enemy in the universe Kyokai Senki. It is one of the more powerful popcorn enemies, but it is still one of the type Zaku type enemies. So you're going to be encountering a lot of these in a game. That would be the one that you kill a lot of. That's why we call them popcorn enemies. Here he is beside my Gundam from the GBN base. As you can see, they're right on par with height. This one is in 172 scale, so in universe he would actually be half that height, or roughly half that height, versus a 144 scale. Here he is beside an Alto from the 30-minute mission series. At roughly the same size and roughly the same utilitarian look, this is the Frame Arms Jinrai in 1/100 scale. Here's the Frame Arms Girl Architect, and as you see, she is roughly the same height as he is, just a hair taller. Here he is standing next to the Hexagear Governor Nero in 124 scale. And versus a Master Grade in 1/100 scale, this is the Alex Gundam. So you can see these high grades here from the Kyokai Senki kits are pretty big. They're very large kits, so you get a lot of presence on these ones. That actually leads me to one of the faults, that they are so large that you might have trouble finding a place to put these on the shelves. They are pretty decently sized. Where you see they take up most of my hand here. They're pretty big. The other bad thing, I think, what I would say about them, con to purchasing these ones, is that they are kind of expensive too. Versus a high grade kit at maybe $15 to $25. These ones are at least $30. The cheapest ones that I've gotten are $30. I did get some of them on sale, but that said, I'm still a little bit disappointed in the pricing. That said, they are really large kits, so it's not terrible. Before I continue on about my pros and cons, let me show you what else it came with in the package. So, of course, you do get the gun, which is, actually, it does have a write-up, so I can read that one in just a bit. But that one is holdable by him. It is not designed to be usable by the other Miley's units, but you can use them in their hands. It comes with another open hand, and remember, these ones do come with 2 thumbs, which is pretty cool. A very unique looking hand. It also comes with another closed hand. As you see, I have one closed, one open, so it comes with 2 sets of hands. This one also does have that sliding gimmick that I showed before. And it does come with a close-eyed version of this one here. When it's in transport, it's supposed to be deactivated mode, so this does have stickers to show the eye is being closed, but I do have the open ones on there right now. There are 2 other write-ups. Leave a comment if you want me to read them. They're about the North American Confederation Forces and about Raymond and Sophia, which are 2 of the pilots that you would have seen controlling these ones in the show. That is them right there, Raymond and Sophia. So if you wanted to, I can read those at another date or add it to this video and re-upload. But for now, I think I'm going to just leave it off at that and just go over the pros and cons of this thing one more time. If you remember, I said cons-wise, price and size. They are large, they are pretty complicated, and they are pretty expensive for what they are. That said, on the pros side, they're easily available because they weren't as popular as some of the other kits that Bandai comes out with, like Gundam, stuff like that. They are very widely available. I see them all over the place. People haven't purchased them up. Definitely worth looking into if you're looking for something new. Another pro is the complexity of these things. They're very different, very unique. That's something I really always try to go for when I come up with kits. Yeah, I know I purchased 2 of these. I'm going to be putting them together. The Brady Hound, Brady Hound was very similar to this kit. There's not a lot of difference on it, but still it's something different than Gundam, you know? Like I always say, it's something about building the same thing over and over and over again. It kind of drags on. I haven't ever gotten to that point, but I can understand how it would, especially if you've done this for years and years. So this one is different in a refreshing way. Another pro is that the color scheme and the design factor is different than Gundam. So you're getting something that you might not normally get out of them, even if it's still a mecha and that's something you're trying to get away from. It's more like a walking tank sort of mecha. So it's a really, really cool departure from the norm. So those are my pros and cons. I definitely think the pros outweigh, which is why I have 2 of them. Something definitely to look into, something unique that you might ordinarily have slept on. That said, definitely look into getting 1 or 2 of these kits. I mean, you get a Miley's and it's an awesome looking kit. get one of these grunts too. You know, get an urine, get one of these Brady's, get the Bunyip Boomerang. They're really, really cool units. I highly recommend. But that said, I'm not going to push you guys too hard because that's not what I'm here for. I don't make any money off of them, so I don't have any interest to shove something in your face that you don't necessarily want. I am here to try to help you to make a decision. And if you are looking for something different, this is it. This is definitely something unique. You will like it. You will enjoy it. Trust me on that. But that is all I'm going to say today. So you guys go ahead and have a good one. I am glad you guys are watching my videos. If you are, if you like them, please hit the like button. I don't get too many likes. I'm not begging for them, but I do appreciate when I do get likes. It's something that I don't see very often, so it does put a smile on my face. Subscribe if you're not and you've seen this one just out of nowhere. I appreciate that too. Nothing better than knowing that people are out there watching this and actually getting some information on it. And then comment, please, if you see anything that you like, see any discrepancies, heard that I said something dumb, tell me. I need some engagement. You guys are really good at that, especially a couple of you who will message me on Discord and tell me what I said was dumb or wrong, or because like I said, I'm not an expert on any of these things. I just watch them or build them, and we just go on. 30-minute missions is an example of something that I'm not an expert on, but I know more about it than the average bear. This one I know a little bit more about than probably the average person because I actually watch the show from front to back. But if I am wrong on something, I'd love it if you pointed it out. Or if you have something like the Machow girl. Someone asked if she's compatible with 112 scale. I didn't have 1 scale figures at the time. Now that I do, I know that actually she is, and she's pretty good with even 110 scale stuff, which is, she is a 110 scale, but 112 scale works pretty well with her too. So it's something that if you guys can, let me know. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. I will stop bugging you guys though. It's already been 3 minutes according to my recording here. So thank you very much for watching once more. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me, but more than likely, you'll see my stuff. Bye-bye.